Hi, hello everybody. My name is Joji and this is my knitting journal. And today is July 8th, 2022. I'm recording from Buenos Aires in Argentina. And it's a cold day, it's a winter day down here. And I'm happy to be back recording. I must say I don't have a ton of knitting to share with you, but I am on a streak recording these journals and I don't want to cut it, I don't want to interrupt it, so I figured I will come and maybe do a shorter journal and let you know what I've been doing this past week and keep you guys updated. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone and so many of you who left a comment on our last episode with my mother. Most of you have already watched episodes with her, but some of you, it was the first time you got to meet my mom, Virginia. And as you could see, we have a really close relationship. My mom is a huge part of my knitting world and I'm always so honored to have her be a guest in my journal. All of your words really touch our hearts, both hers and mine. So we really appreciate your saying you enjoy when we are together, because we have a very good time together too. Today I'm alone, and probably first thing I should talk about is what I'm wearing today. I wear it better in the pattern photos as always, but this is a very real way to show how I wear my sweaters in real life, which is not too often, only during the winter. I released this pattern yesterday. It's called the LACE FADE BOXY, and so far it's been a super popular release and it makes me so happy. And of course I appreciate you supporting my work, because that means that I get to still do what I love for a living. The pattern can be found on Ravelry and on my website. My website is jojiknits.com. And so it's a boxy sweater. A boxy sweater is something that it's very oversized, as you can see. I have all these extra fabric with me, which is a style that I really enjoy wearing. I love the way it looks with my body shape, but also with lots of body shapes, with everyone's body shape. I've been designing boxy sweaters for such a long time. If I am correct, my first version called Boxy was released 10 years ago. Might be almost exactly 10 years ago. I'm going to maybe put that information here in the screen. And I love them. I've designed a lot of versions. All of them have things in common and some things different. All of them have some amount of positive ease, and a positive ease means that the garment is bigger than your measurements. So the ease is the difference between the finished garment and your measurements. The larger this difference, the more amount of positive ease and the more fabric, the more extra fabric you have. I love to wear my sweaters and to show you how they look, because often whenever I design something boxy, especially with my first versions of a boxy pattern, I got a lot of negative feedback and people were a little bit wary of wearing a boxy fit. Not now. After all these years, we are lucky that we have places like Ravelry where we can see all the projects that a pattern that people make with the same pattern. So we can see a pattern made by different knitters and in different versions, so we can see how it fits in different body shapes, and it helps us when we find someone that has similar shapes or taste or style that we do, then we can sort of see how that would look on our shape. And boxy has been made by so many knitters that it's easy to find someone that sort of represents or dresses in a similar way as you want to, and then you can see how that would look on you. The patterns that I called boxy in my portfolio, so boxy, V-neck boxy, worsted boxy, and now lace and fade boxy, are those with the most amount of positive ease. That means that they are the largest ones in my series of oversized pullovers. And I'm trying now to make the math. I should maybe pull out the pattern, but my size has a circumference of 170 centimeters around, and my bust measurement is 90 centimeters. So that's 80 centimeters of positive ease, and that's 32 inches of positive ease for my size. So this is what 32 inches, or more or less 32 inches of positive ease looks like on me. The key to make a boxy sweater successful and look good is to find a fabric that has drape, or whatever the yarn you're using. I always recommend that you knit it at a looser fabric, at the looser gauge than what's recommended for that yarn, and therefore the fabric that you get has a lot of drape. In particular, this garment that I'm wearing today, both yarns have some silk content in it. So both the mohair and the merino that I use as the main yarn, they both have silk. The merino has 50% silk, and the mohair has either 20 or 30%, I think 30% silk content, which makes a very drapey fabric. But you don't have to use super luxurious yarn to get a good drape. Most superwash merino yarns will drape very nicely, and for example, a budget-friendly option that I have used before and that I really like is Knit Picks. The Knit Picks straw fingering, and the colorway that I have here is Nature Walk tonal, and I have used this yarn to design socks. I haven't used it for a sweater, but I could see how this yarn would behave in a sweater project. I don't like to brag about it, but I know you guys always tell me that I have a thing to sort of understand how yarn would behave without having to really, before having to knit with it. This is a yarn that I would recommend for a sweater like the boxy pullover I'm wearing. And if I remember correctly, the skein was something about $12 to $13 a couple of years ago. I know that there's the prices have been going up everywhere in the world, so this is probably more expensive now, but it's still a much more affordable option than some other options out there, and it would work perfectly for this design too. And this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So as you see, there's no really fancy fiber other than the merino perhaps. And this would work really, really great with the sweater, with the design that I'm wearing today. I was gifted this yarn. I'm very lucky that way. This yarn was dyed by Hannah from Circus Tonic Handmade. She's based in Australia, in Adelaide, and the base is called Reunion Merino Silk. This is a sport weight yarn, but it knits very similar to a fingering weight, so like a heavy fingering weight. The yarn that I just showed you is a heavy fingering weight. So you can either use a sport weight or a fingering weight for this sweater, As long as you heat gauge, you'll be fine, and you can heat gauge with both of those yarn types. This design requires, if you want to knit it the same way as I did, you'll need 5 colors. I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that's what Hannah gifted me. And I use 1 partial skein of each. For color 1, I used most of the first skein, so the larger sizes will require more, just 1 extra skein of color 1, but then you will have enough with just 1 skein of the other colors. If you want to use just 1 color instead of 5 as I did, then I also included in the pattern the total yardage for the main yarn. So for example, for my size, you don't really need 5 skeins. You're probably good with 3 skeins of the main yarn, and you only need 1 skein of the contrasting yarn. The contrasting yarn is a fine mohair and silk blend. It's a lace weight yarn, and I use 1 skein of magpie fibers feather in the color Fior di Latte. And yeah, so I'm very happy with this. I don't really like how it looks with my white top underneath. In the pattern photos, I'm wearing a camisole, and it's a nude or like a beigey color, and it looks better. I think that if I was wearing something more in line with the shades of the top, it would look also better. That's probably something that happens with most lacy patterns that I design. You have to be more mindful of what you're wearing underneath, but I still really like the delicate effect that the lace bands have, and how it looks, how it shows the skin of the person who's wearing the garment. That's something that I really like. Other details that I like about this design that I repeat for most of my boxy designs are the sleeve length. As you can see, it's like a 3/4 sleeve or or a bracelet sleeve. This is a very feminine feature, showing the wrists. And of course, if you want to make it long sleeve, you just have to continue knitting. The sleeves are knitted from the top down. In the round, everything's knit in the round. For this sweater, there are no seams. And yeah, you just continue working the sleeve and continue decreasing to make it a long sleeve. I just really like the contrast of something that's super loose and super comfy with something that is more refined on the sleeves. I also love this wider neckline. It's almost like a boat neck, but not really. It's not as wide as so that it reaches your shoulder bones. It's more just the width of your collarbones. And some people call this type of neckline a jewel neck, which is very precise because you can wear a choker or a small pendant necklace and have it sit just above the reach of your neckband. And yeah, there's some short row shaping here on the shoulders. As you can see the wraps and turns over there. This is so that there's not so much fabric underneath your arms, and so that the shoulders sit a little bit better when you're wearing it. The pattern comes in 10 sizes from 1 to 10, which is the equivalent to extra small to 6 extra large. And I really hope you like it. I am spending a lot more time on Ravelry lately. That's something that I'm doing with purpose. I am very determined to be back to chat with you all on Ravelry. Actually, I'm going to upload my journal notes there too. I will put them here on YouTube, but also on Ravelry. So if you have any questions regarding the yarn that you're planning to use, if you're planning to use leftovers or partial skeins from your stash, just come over to Ravelry, and I'll be happy to look at what you have and give you my opinions and suggestions. And as always, feel free to email us at designsbyjoji@gmail.com, where my helper and best person ever, Julie, will help you with anything you need with the pattern or anything else. So yeah, Lace and Fade Boxy is my feature pattern for this week, and I am so happy with it. I've written some notes to share with you. First, I have a finished object that I finished this morning, and it's funny because I soaked it and I was ready to block it, but then I decided to record, so I didn't pin it, and I'm going to show it to you wet, but it's fine. I think that you can definitely see what's going on. This is the shawl that I cast on after the second to last journal. I talked about maybe doing a one skein project, and in the last journal, previous journal, I showed you that I had started a shawl, and this is it. It's hard to show the details with a variegated yarn, and especially when it's wet, but as you can see, I love making big pieces out of small amounts of yarn. So this is not a small shawl, it's actually quite a nicely sized shawl, and I'm very, very pleased with the result. I am going to show you some of the pattern details that are happening. The pattern photos will definitely have to show this better, but I used some slip stitches and some lace and some waves there, and I also did some short rows and some wedge shaping and a lovely picot bind off. So this I will be writing the pattern and testing the pattern, and hopefully it will be out soon. This only takes one skein of sock yarn or any fingering weight yarn. The one that I use is Walk Collection Tough Sock in the Boho colorway, and yeah, it's finished and I really like it. I can't wear it because it's soaking wet, but that is my only finished object for this week, but it's good progress. I even managed to write the pattern, most of it. Okay, let's see. I made no progress on the brioche cardigan and my geometric wrap that I'm making using Moondrake company yarn. And the brioche cardigan, I am using La Bien-Aimée boucle and merino singles, but I didn't need a single stitch on either of those patterns or projects, so I'm not going to show them to you this week. And I started 2 new works in progress. Oh, by the way, Mom is working on the pullover version of Elton that I showed last week, and I talked to her and it's going great. She's down to the underarms. She has now joined in the round, so that's going great. And next time that I record, if she is around, then I'll ask her to come and show us. So as I said, I started 2 projects. The 2 projects that I was going to start last week, I have started, and I realized that it's a great thing to come here and record because it keeps me accountable and it keeps me casting on new projects and producing things, which is fabulous. I started a new pair of socks. I haven't made a ton of progress, but I think that last week I had only wound up the yarn. I don't think I had cast on because I was planning to start this. So these are my, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember. I know I showed this on Instagram, but I don't think I showed it in the journal. So I hope I'm not repeating this. I hope this is a new work in progress. But in any case, I started a new pair of socks. This is the yarn I was planning to use, and it's by Skein, one of my favorite dyers and friends. Kristen is in Australia, in Coffs Harbour. And this is one of her older yarns. I'm not sure if she's still making the shimmer, but it's a blend of merino and nylon and stellina. So you can see the glitter there. I love it. I love a glittery sock. In fact, I am wearing right now a pair of glittery shorties. I don't think I should raise my foot and show you, but these are very old. I'm debating whether I'll show and then cut it, but there you can see. These are my favorite style of socks to wear, and might have a little bit of stellina. These are very old, just color block shorties that I make with leftovers. Yeah, so when I was putting on my shorties last week, I realized that I mostly use the shorties that I need for myself almost every day. So Nano likes them mid-calf. I love them short, ankle length, and I only have 3 of those, which is not little, not few of them, but I would enjoy having more. And so I decided to start a new pair. And yeah, as a fun detail, I did a bubble cast on, and I did a half twisted rib cuff, and now I'm doing a ribbed heel. And this will have a lace slash cable thing going on down the top of the foot. So yeah, I just started, but this shouldn't take long because these are rather quick projects. Again, this is Skein Shimmer in the Milky Way colorway, and I am hosting that in a new bag prototype that I am testing for Joji & Co. By the way, my bags are found at jojiandco.com. We normally don't have much there in the shop, except for when we do a shop update, and we do those every week or every 10 days. This year we used to do them more often, but unfortunately we are a bit limited in our production lately. We hope to resume production faster soon. But anyway, this is a new prototype that I am test driving. It's based on our Santa Cruz. Our Santa Cruz bag is bigger. It's the one that my mom showed last week. It was red, and this is based on that design. And it's a sock bag. It's for 2 skeins of yarn, and I'll call it Santa Cruzita because it's a small Santa Cruz. This one, I don't know when we'll release. I have approved now the prototype. This is the final version, and I really love it. The other project that I started is the knitalong blanket. So now that we are alone and my mom is not here, you probably saw she was not impressed with the yarn that I brought for her. I think she was more eager to use my leftovers for other projects, but I sort of told her that we were doing that. And after we stopped the video, she said, you know, you're right, I really want to make a blanket, and she was really happy, and we got to plan it together. We made a plan, and she's been working on her blanket, and it's looking gorgeous. I'll show you mine. I am not as advanced as she is. This is living in my Pampa bucket, also from Joji and Co. And so this is mine. I've only done one stripe in the silk, and this is how it's looking. So if you haven't watched the last couple of episodes, I brought one ball or skein of recycled silk for me and one for my mom to work on a knit-along, and I decided that we were going to make blankets using 3 strands of fingering weight leftovers. I have so many leftovers and I love them. I want to use them, but I will never use them if I use them just in socks. So I love to put them into blankets, and when I triple strand them, I use them faster, and I get these super beautiful projects that we all enjoy using at home. So these, I'm using all my neutrals, grays to blacks, and this is like a pale blue, but I think it was suiting. And every now and then I am doing a random stripe in the silk. I'm going to do one right now. And I plan to make 3 of these strips and then sew them lengthwise to make like a scrappy blanket. And then I'm going to use the red silk to make a lot of the fringe details for those blankets. So I am also posting my progress on my Ravelry group. My Ravelry group is called Designs by Joji, and there's a thread in that forum that says Joji and Mom's Blanket Knit-Along, where I am sharing all the details of what I am making and how I am making it, and hopefully I'll post progress there. Of course, I invite you to come and make scrappy blankets with me. For this blanket, I cast on using 8mm needles, and I have 2, 50 stitches. I cast on 50 stitches on US 11 8mm needles, and I'm doing just garter stitch. And I change colors whenever I run out of one strand of leftovers, or whenever I want, I just change one or more of the strands. This is absolutely random. I am not keeping any numbers or any frequency or any length of the stripes. I'm just using up my leftovers, which is to me one of the most satisfying things to knit with, leftovers. So those are my 2 current work in progress, plus the other 2 that I didn't make any progress on. We have announced that we will be hosting our Joji Fall Knit-Along this year again, as always. I have made a graphic and artwork that I really like. I'm very happy with it for this year. And every year I like to make some images that people can use to tag their projects with, or to use as placeholder for those of you who like to create Ravelry projects, or even people who like to share on Instagram that they are taking part of the knit-along. I like to make the little artwork every year. Sometimes I've had help from artist friends, and most of the times I make those myself. I am trying to find out if we can print some project bags, canvas bags and t-shirts. in time to have them shipped before the knitalong, and I am waiting for some quotes from some suppliers here in Argentina, because everything that we make for Joji & Co has to be locally made. So I'm trying to find that out. And yeah, so if you have never participated in our fall knit-along, we do this every year, and for most years it is a 3-month knit-along. Last year we couldn't host it for different reasons. We couldn't host it for 3 years, so we had it only for a month and a half, 6 weeks. And I know that most people were sad that the knit-along was shorter than it usually is, because it's a lovely time to be around other knitters. Everyone's super helpful, and there's a ton of advice and camaraderie. So yeah, we couldn't have it last year for 3 months, but we are having it again for 3 months this year. So these are some details for Joji Fall Knit-along. First of all, it's free. Anyone can join. You don't have to buy new patterns. You can use patterns that you already have in your library. You can use any of my free patterns. By the way, I sent out a newsletter last week with some free pattern ideas. So subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already. I hope you enjoy that. So it's free. You can join in with any pattern. It doesn't have to be self-published. If you can join in with patterns from books that I've collaborated with, or magazines, or patterns that I've sold to a company and that can be acquired via a different company. We will open the sign-ups on August 15. So in order to sign up, you don't have to do anything now. Just be aware that around mid-August we will open a sign-ups, and those will be made via a Google sign-up form. So you have to fill in your own sign-up form, and all of that information will be linked on Instagram and my Ravelry group, and I will also send a newsletter prior to the opening of the sign-ups. The sign-ups will be open for 2 weeks, and so you can add as many projects as you want until August 30th. On August 31st, we take the day off so that we can work on the sign-up sheets and see how many projects we have and how we're going to manage them. And then the official cast-on date, the official day in which we start the projects, is September 1st, and the knit-along goes through November 30, so 3 months. Frequently asked questions: can I join with a work in progress? No, normally and always for Joji Fall Knit-along, it's only new cast-ons. But if you have a work in progress that you want support with right now, we have a support group going on Ravelry. In the forum, we have a thread for those who are trying to clean their needles before the start of the knit-along. So come over now, finish those projects with us. We will cheer you on, and we will help you get a clean slate for the beginning of the fall knit-along. Then what's in it for you? Just hanging out with a ton of knitters. Usually the groups are very big and very fun, and if you are stuck or if you need advice with anything, there will be tons of people ready to jump in and give you encouragement and advice. So it's a great time to learn and come to the forum and have fun. There will be prizes. Every year we have amazing companies donating prizes for us. Unlike other podcasters, as you probably can imagine, I can't receive things here at my home, so I won't be able to show you the prizes here in my journal, but we will be, of course, talking about them on Ravelry, and when the time comes, I will do a special section where I show photos of the prizes that we have available for the fall knit-along. And yeah, so there will be prizes mostly for those who finish the projects, but also there'll be random prizes for people who just sign up and maybe cast on, and you know, life happens and you couldn't finish but you were committed for a week. So we will also have random prizes for anyone who takes place. On the topic of running, thank you everyone for the encouragement. I ran my race last weekend. It was a 30K race. I think it's somewhere around 19 miles. And it was great. I did very well. I felt amazing the entire time. It was a race here in Buenos Aires. It wasn't a trail race. It was a flat road race. And I was very scared. It was the first time that I ran that distance for a race. I had already done a couple of workouts. And so I was feeling confident, but I had never run a race that long. And yeah, my husband drove me there. I ran and then he came pick me up, and yeah, I felt really good to be able to run all that much. I honestly, a couple of years ago, I would have never dreamed that I could run like that and feel so strong, but I did it and I survived. So I'm still going strong with my running. Next race, guys, for me is on September 18, and this time I'm going to say it out loud. I signed up for the Buenos Aires Marathon, full marathon, 42 kilometers, 26.3, I think, miles. And yeah, I'm committed. I'm doing my training, and there's no turning back now. So I'm 10-ish weeks away from that, and yeah, I'm hoping to maybe run my first marathon. Yeah, I've been reading also. I've been listening to an audiobook very interesting called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. It's not long. I think it's something like 6 hours listening, and I found it very interesting. I'm not going to say much about it. There are some parts that clicked more with me than some others, but I found it really interesting. I know that it has impressed a lot of people, so if you want, go check it out. It's not a long read or listen. I highly recommend. I think that you'll all enjoy listening to it. Whatever this book does for you, I think it's a good read. So I recommend going to check it out. Atomic Habits. I want to thank everyone who signed up for my classes in Barcelona. They went live on Monday 4, and they sold out very, very quickly. I think that they sold out by Tuesday evening or Wednesday. So that is humbling. And I'm just really, really grateful that you can take your time and your energy, and that so many of you booked a trip to actually come and spend time with me in the classroom. And it means the world. For those of you who are coming, just know that I will give you my best, that I've been also very intentional about my teaching, and I look forward to being with you just as much as you look forward to being with me, and I hope that that shows when we are together in the classroom. So thank you so much. There are still lots of classes that you can take part in Barcelona. It's happening on November 5 and 6. And there are classes both in Spanish and English. Mine will be in English. And yeah, so that was a success, or it will be a success, I hope, in November. And for anyone asking whether I am teaching again, I am hopeful. I can't confirm yet, but hopefully in a couple of weeks I will be able to tell you. I am working on a new, how do you say, contract. I have a work meeting on Monday to finalize the possibility of me traveling for work again at the beginning of next year. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. Also, it's a great project and I am very excited. And yeah, I think that's most of it. As for plans, future plans for Joji, I am going to be traveling soon again, this time with my family. Winter holidays are coming here. My kids will have 2 weeks off starting next Friday. So every year we go on a ski holiday. We take the car and we drive across the country from east to west to the Andes to a place called Chapelco, or San Martín de los Andes is the city and Chapelco is the name of the ski resort. And that journey takes a long time. It's an 18-hour drive to the mountains. And so that is happening next weekend. We're going there for a week. And then for the first time, and this is something new, I purchased some snowshoes. We don't have snow here in Buenos Aires, so I don't have anywhere to practice, but I purchased a pair of snowshoes. And I convinced 2 friends to come with me and do some winter hiking right after my ski week. So we are going to go from the place where we are skiing, just the women, the moms, we are going to go to Bariloche and we are going to do some winter trek from the base to a place called Refugio, Jakob, and where we will hopefully stay for 2 nights up there in the mountain, and then we're going to hike back down with our snowshoes. I say hopefully because right now the trail is closed due to a huge thunderstorm, so I don't know if these new adventures of mine are totally safe. I'm trying to be very safe. I'm reading, you know, all the information I have about winter hiking. You know, I'm learning how to use navigation radios, and like I'm carrying everything with me, but it's something totally new that it both excites me and scares me to death what we're going to do. So yay for snowshoeing. And then so that means that I will be away from home from July 15 to July, let's say the end of July. And then I will leave on another trip on August 4, this time for a week with friends, with some other girlfriends, this time to a place in Argentina, a province called San Juan. And we are going to see some amazing rock formations and do a little bit of hiking and road tripping and wine tasting. So I am planning to this year to take some footage to show you guys these 3 trips. They are all in the mountainous areas, so they are all in the Andes range, but they are in 3 very different places. So I might record when I come back from the ski trip and show you the first 2 legs, and then I might record after my trip to San Juan and show you guys my country, which I always know you like to know about my trips, and this time I might do a little bit of footage. This also means that I have to get to work before leaving, and I have to plan my travel knitting very well because I want to stay this productive and engage with you all, with my audience. I want to keep creating beautiful things for you to knit, and therefore I need to plan very well what I'm going to be working on for the next 3 weeks. ideas I have are, first, I might start a new cowl, a one skein cowl, now that I finished the shawl, because I did say that it was that when I asked my viewers whether they preferred the shawl or a cowl, more people prefer the shawl, but a lot of people said they did like the cowl, and many did say that they like both too. So one thing that I could work on is a one skein cowl. So then we'll have both. Another thing that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now is a colorwork sweater made only in mohair, which I find very tempting and warm. And so yeah, I haven't had the time or the mental space to sort of diagram that or to plan that, but I'm thinking also maybe not doing a circular yoke but a raglan style pullover with colorwork details in mohair. The other thing that I am always thinking about is another DK weight V-neck. I don't know whether a cardigan or a pullover, but I know I haven't been designing with DK that much lately, and it's a very, very popular weight. I've been doing a lot of fingering weight stuff, so maybe a DK weight pullover or cardigan is in order, and I could bring that with me, especially on the road trips, for those times when my friends are driving. So do let me know first if you have any ideas for things that are missing in your wardrobe or things that you'd like to see. I'd love to know. And if I were to make a V-neck, something in DK weight, like a single yarn, not pairing different stuff like I've been doing lately, would you prefer it pullover or cardigan? Well, I think that's it for this week's journal. I hope that you enjoyed my news, and as always, I am very, 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 very grateful of your time. I appreciate all your comments, and please write to me here on YouTube. It helps me stay motivated, and it helps me stay committed to all of you. So until next time, bye bye.